Hello and welcome to the 9 p.m. daily quiz. I hope all of you are doing good. I welcome you all to this session where we discuss the most important news stories from the prelims examination point of view by taking those news from important sources, converting them into questions for the prelims examination and then discussing them here. If you are regular here, you know how do we go ahead. If you are new here, I would request you, whenever you see a question on the screen, pause, think about the answer and then see if you were right or wrong. In the end, do tell me in the comment section, were you right and were you wrong in how many answers, how much did you score out of all the questions here. If you're new here, do hit the subscribe and the like button, we'll really appreciate that. And if you're new here, you can also download my app from the Google Play Store. The name of the app is Harshmeet Study Circle, where you can check out all the other courses that I offer, which are live courses and answer writing courses as well. Let's begin with the quiz today with question number 1. Consider the following statements with regards to zero tillage farming. Number 1. Zero tillage is the process where the crop seed will be sown through drillers without prior land preparation and disturbing the soil where previous crop stubbles are present. Second, it's environmentally safe. Greenhouse effect will get reduced due to carbon sequestration. Third, as the soil is intact and no disturbance is done, no-till lands have more useful flora and fauna. How many of these are correct? Now, UPSC has asked a question on zero tillage farming in the past, where the question was on similar lines. What are the advantages of zero tillage farming? Usually, when you see any farmland, when you have to sow a seed, you basically disturb the soil and then you sow the seed and then you put the soil back. Zero tillage farming says don't disturb the seed, basically drill the seed in the land without disturbing the soil. That is zero tillage farming. All these three statements here are correct. Because there is no disturbance of the top layer of the soil, it is considered to be environmentally safer. It will lead to carbon sequestration, basically carbon getting trapped and carbon not getting released. And since no disturbance is there, it is more useful to flora and fauna. The answer thus here is C. All the three are correct. There is an article in the Indian Express newspaper about zero tillage wheat and other kind of new products that will be tried in the form of a joint venture that has been formed by two private sector major companies called the Alvin and the Jalna. These two companies have come up with a joint collaboration. It's a 50-50 joint venture to explore technologies that will help the farmers to grow rice by direct seeding. Next, question number 2. Consider the following statements with regards to privilege motion in the Indian Parliament. Number 1. All the petitions with regards to privilege motion are referred to the Privileges Committee of the Parliament. Second, Rule number 222 in Chapter 20 of Lok Sabha Rule Book and corresponding Rule 187 in Chapter 16 of Rajya Sabha Rule Book governs privilege. Third, parliamentary privileges extend to the President as well, since he or she is also an integral part of the Parliament. How many of these are correct? The reason why this is in the news is a privilege motion has been moved by a member of the Congress against the Prime Minister. What has happened was the Prime Minister had shared a speech given by a BJP member of Parliament. That speech was expunged, means that speech was removed from the official account. But even then the Prime Minister shared it. As you know, if something is expunged from the Parliament's account or from the Parliament's proceedings, you are not allowed to share this publicly. But the Prime Minister did that. That is a context. In that aspect, what are these statements? Are these correct or not for privilege motion? Let's see. First, not all the privileges motions go to the committee. So the first scrutiny is done by the presiding officer of the House. Lok Sabha Speaker or the Rajya Sabha Chairperson, they decide whether or not it makes sense for this privilege motion to go ahead or not. If they decide, then they will then move it and send it to the privilege committee. Second is correct. These are the rules in the Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha rule book that talk about privilege. Third is wrong. President's privilege are not a part of parliamentary privilege. President has different privileges given in article number 361. So there are separate immunities given to President under article 361. He does not have to be covered by the parliamentary privileges. So the answer here is A. Only one of these is correct. That is the second one. First and third are wrong. Here is the Jalandhar Member of Parliament, Charanjit Singh Channi, ex-Chief Minister of Punjab, who has moved the privilege motion against the Prime Minister. Next, question number 3. Consider the following statements. Number 1. India is the world's largest producer of pulses. Second, however, India is still dependent on import to meet its domestic demand. Third, the main source of tur dal import into India is Mozambique. How many of these are correct? Slightly tricky question. You cannot remember all the different sources of different pulses, from where do we import them, but this is in the news, that is why we are asking this. India is in fact the largest producer of pulses, but even then our consumption or domestic demand is so much that we still have to import pulses. So India is still dependent on imports to meet our domestic demand. Third is also correct. Tur dal, also called as the arhar dal. India imports most of it from the African country of Mozambique. The answer thus is C, all three are correct. The reason why it is in the news is that import of tur dal had stopped from Mozambique. Now the government has again intervened and made sure that this tur dal import has resumed. It has been resumed after Ministry of Consumer Affairs raised the issue with the Ministry of External Affairs about the tur dal not being able to pass through the Nacala port of Mozambique because they were disrupted, or the port's proceedings were disrupted by an anti-India group in Mozambique. Next, question number 4. Axis of resistance, often seen in the news, is a group led by which of the following nations? USA, Israel, Saudi Arabia or Iran? Axis of resistance. It is usually in the news. It is a group led by Iran. So as you know, Iran supports a lot of different groups in the region. Hezbollah, Hamas, all these together are called as the axis of resistance. So the idea is, they say that we are resisting against the evil rule or the evil control of the Western countries such as the US. So we have formed an alliance where we will be resisting against increasing power of Western-led countries and their allies in the region such as Israel, Saudi Arabia, etc. This is in the news because, as you know, the chief of Hamas has been killed by Israel when he was in Iran, and that is why the region once again is extremely tense, and that is why the axis of resistance has come in the news. As you can see here, Iran could hike up attacks against Israel through its allies, which is called a coalition of Iranian-backed groups called as the axis of resistance. It includes Hezbollah, Hamas, the Palestinian Islamic Jihad group, the Houthis and others, and all these are led and supported by Iran. Next, last question for the day is question number 5. India's All We Imagine as Light was recently seen in the news because it won the Best Global Music Album Award at the Grammy Awards. It won the Golden Peacock at 55th International Film Festival of India. It won the Grand Prix Award at the Cannes Film Festival, or it made history as the first book by an Indian author to receive the International Booker Prize. It was in the news, it was celebrated quite a lot. It's not a news that was covered just yesterday, it's a news of a few weeks back. The answer is C. It was in the news because it won the prestigious Grand Prix prize at the Cannes Film Festival, and it was covered widely by the media. This is the news. Payal Kapadia's All We Imagine as Light makes history as the film that has won the Grand Prix award. It's a major award in the film world. To end the session today, I have an important quote for you once again for your mains examination, especially the essay paper, by Martin Luther King Jr. Justice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. Feel free to use this quote whenever you think that it is appropriately suitable. Thank you so much for joining in once again. Do hit the like button, the subscribe button. If you need any other help with your UPSC preparation, my phone number, my email ID are all given in the description of the video. Do check out my other videos as well. You can find the link in the description of this video. Thank you so much. Bye-bye. Jai Hind.